Hey there YouTube, it's Wheelchair21 and it's time for another rolling review. On today's review, SH Figuarts Bio Rider from Kamen Rider Black RX, which is his third and final form from the show. This figure, well, just was recently released. It has a nice gray box. You have a lot of etching to show all the fine details of the figure on the cover here. And on the back, pretty basic and follows suits to all of the Black and Black RX Figuarts thus far, with just two basic poses and just a little bit of information on the back. Anyways, as you can see, unlike the previous Figuart, Robo Rider, this one comes with a lot more accessories, or I should say, additional hands, as it only has one weapon. But anyways, let's get down to the figure itself. Here you have Figuarts Robo Rider. First off, getting it out of the box, I noticed that there's a lot of crazy things about this figure. One is, well, his entire hip area is kind of different than most of the recent age Figuarts. It kind of goes back to the old basic ball joints that the early Figuarts had, but also its hip joints is kind of a fusion between, like, two different types. Like, it's a straight up on a peg thigh joint between the hip and the actual thigh itself, while it's also on this ball joint, which can, swivel, make it go out and in, giving it a wider range of motion. But the problem is the peg joint into the thigh is very stiff, and I feel like I'll end up breaking the figure. It's just very stiff for me. I don't know if other people are having that issue, if it's a QC issue. I'm not quite sure. Along with that, the shoulders are very different on this thing, where it has a basic ball joint shoulder without any padding to really go over it and cover it, because the pad itself is built into the shoulders and has a nice joint for it to sway and flow to actually give it the ability to move his arms freely and straight up, which is amazing, but also makes me very cautious of it possibly breaking, because underneath it's just connected on a simple ball joint and peg underneath, and you really can't get a clear shot of it on camera. Another thing is the abs kind of tend to make the belt really sway back and forth from left to right, and it's sometimes asymmetrical and never really in place to the actual socket around the padding from the pelvis to the actual chest. Now, the cool thing about this figure since day one was they actually put all the stretch marks and creases that went into making the padding work on the suit actor, or just in general from the fights and such. Because as the series went on, a lot more creases tend to actually form in the foam, and it's very noticeable when you watch the show. It had a lot of creases and grooves into it. It's just one of those things that it's ironic, just because of the material they were using, that they actually put it into the motion capture for the molding of this figure in general. Now, right off the bat, he is very basic. He's still a Showa Rider, don't forget. But he is the first to implement the whole forms change, which also explains why they're so basic, but yet different from his main form, which is RX. Honestly, it's a really crazy color scheme, and just obviously works with the flow of water, and the whole red matching the kingstone, and the silver. It just blends well. It's kind of like red, white, and blue. So, yeah. He has multiple hands, about, I would say, 5 pairs of additional hands. 3 for just posing, and 2 for actually either holding his saber or riding the motorcycles that he has throughout the show. And, well, let's just go down to the actual accessories and actual opinion and review for this character, if it's worth buying or not. And now it's evaluation time. First off, this figure is not necessary for fans to get. Honestly, this is only for diehard collectors and diehard fans for Black RX. I would say Robo Rider is a huge pass just because of the thigh joints and the shoulder joints. And honestly, I just feel like it might be just a QC issue, but I mean, I got it because, one, I'm kind of a completionist when it comes to Black RX and Saban's Masked Rider, because it was just, as a really young kid, I really just loved the show. It was different than Power Rangers. It was very interesting to me. I don't know why. I just liked the gimmick of the suit and the theme of the powers and such, and it just really draws me in. But as a collector, I'm just very indifferent on the figure itself, the Figuart. I'm glad I got it. I like having it next to my other RX Figuarts. Just, I think that the thing that Tamashi did to its thighs, like how it works and stuff, just really annoys me. The shoulders work nice. I'm very cautious of them, yes. But it's just, yeah, I don't like the thighs. I don't like the hips. I just feel like it's very whole wonky, and I could end up breaking this figure. But for those who really are wanting this character or wanting this form, you can get it. Amazon has it. BBTS has it. CS Toys frequently gets it. You can probably find some maybe at Hobby Link Japan or Ami Ami. You can always contact a middleman to help you find one, because it's easy to come by, I think. They're really great figures. They're great to have. They're great to have on display. And you only need Bio Rider if you want to just complete the collection of the series itself. Or if you are a huge, Rider fan in general and have to have them all. I would say just pass it. Unless you really want it. Anyways, I'm Wheelchair21. You can find me here on YouTube. Also, you can check me out on Twitter. Follow me. Instagram, Taja_Doyle. Check out Hero Taku, because we're with heroes. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Check out our podcasts, which are featured on Raijo Nihon. And we'll see you next time with another rolling review, Doyle's DVDs, or card game shenanigans.